that you keep switching on that system for an extended period of time, and you live by the arousal of fear, the arousal of pain, the arousal of suffering, the arousal of aggression. It takes energy to activate those latent systems, and when we do that, our immune system is compromised. The energy that's mobilized for emergency, for the threat in the outer environment, compromises the energy in our inner environment, and we are then more susceptible to the conditions in our outer environment. And as Greg said, you have to look at to see what keeps you in balance. And stress and living in survival is when you're knocked out of balance, knocked out of homeostasis. Well, we can tolerate that short term, but if you keep exposing yourself to the same stimulation, or you have the thought of some worst case scenario in your mind, you're actually knocking your brain and body out of balance by thought alone. And this is where it gets dangerous, because the conditioning response, the worst case scenario, the image we create in our mind and the emotion that we perceive, is the stimulus response that's conditioning the body to subconsciously live by the arousal of fear, as an example. So that internal environment becomes compromised and the immune system dials down. And why is that? Because we are more reactionary, or responding more to the environment. So, and Greg, you know this, that in a time like this, when everybody's feeling fear, that seems natural and normal. But what we're looking for is supernatural, and that's the new consciousness that has to emerge as a result of this wake-up call. This is a perfect opportunity for people to be in a retreat, but instead of being in some tent or some hut in the Himalayas, or being, in some hotel, you're in the comfort of your own home. And it's true, you break from routine and you're not going to the same place and seeing the same people and doing the same thing. And that causes you to step outside of familiar territory. So then when we practice the inward work, when we practice meditation, as an example, and you have the ability to take a moment and be present and truly open your heart, our research shows that you are going to actually create a state of information that's no longer coming from your outer world, that there's danger in there. But when you start falling into the present moment and opening your heart, your immune system in 4 days can strengthen by 50%. Now, I know most people will say, I don't really want to do it now, it's just too hard. No. This is the time. This is the time that we've been practicing for. This is the time where it matters the most. These are the tools that we've learned. So what information then is your body receiving? Is it receiving danger in the outer world, or in a meditation, it could feel safe enough that it can move into the present moment? And the moment that happens, energy starts restoring the body, and T cells and B cells start making those wonderful antigens that block viruses and bacteria. And now your body's so objective when you're in that state that it really doesn't know the difference between the real life event that's creating the emotion and the emotion that you're creating by that alone. That is exactly what strengthens the immune system. So you said it: physical stress, chemical stress, emotional stress. Then there's 3 types of balance. Physical balance, take care of your body. Emotional balance, this is a time when you have to find that center point and you have to self-regulate. And chemical balance, just make sure that you make the right choices within the things you put in your body. And your body has an innate intelligence that will begin to memorize viruses and bacteria. And the bigger question is, why do some people get sick and other people don't? And usually the people that do get sick already have a predisposing condition that's maybe more vulnerable. So great time to be alive. Sure, we're all wanting to get back to our normal lives, but I do believe what Greg said is the truth, and that is that there will be a new consciousness of people that will emerge, and it takes a little pause in order for us to find out what's valuable to us, and then to learn how to take care of our inner world. And so if people really want to begin to change, the first thing I think is so important is to gain as much information as you possibly can about understanding your body, understanding how your brain works, understanding how your heart works in a very, very practical way, understand really just the intelligence of what's possible genetically, even with this vehicle that we've been endowed with. And so the more we understand what we're doing, the more we understand the why are we doing it, then the how all of a sudden starts to get easier, because we can begin to assign meaning to what we're doing, and we can put more intention or more effort behind it. So the first step is the unlearning process. I mean, your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's listening to this broadcast has created the present personal reality called your life. So that means if you want to change your life, you're going to have to change yourself. If you want to change your personal reality, we have to begin to look at our personality. So this doesn't mean you just start thinking positively and hope for the best. No, because if we're thinking the majority of the thoughts that we think every day is the same thoughts as the day before, well, the same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices will lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors will create the same experiences. The same experiences produce the same feelings and emotions. And those same redundant feelings drive our same thoughts. Now, here's the problem. Our biology, our neurocircuitry, our neurochemistry, our hormones, and even our gene expression is equal to how we think, how we act, and how we feel. So if you keep nerve cells that wire together, you keep thinking the same way, doing the same things, experiencing the same emotions, over time, the body begins to memorize. Through neurocircuitry, we hardwire our brain, and the feeling that we feel every single day just becomes a subconscious feeling. Like, most people don't even know they feel guilty, because that's how they normally feel. So that makes up 95% of our identity, our personality, by the time we're 35 years old. So it becomes a very subconscious state of mind and body through habituations, through emotional conditioning, through hardwired patterns, and so in emotional responses. So then the first step to change is becoming conscious of those unconscious states of mind and body. Now, most people don't like to do this because, as Greg said, they'd rather get distracted by technology. They'd rather turn on the TV. They'd rather call someone up and complain. This is lighting a match in a dark place. This is all of a sudden, the word meditation means to become familiar with. So when you're sitting in a meditation and you're hearing words like, I can't, it's too hard, I'm never going to change, I want you to know that in that moment, you're not doing your meditation wrong. I want you to know that you're actually doing it right, because now you're becoming conscious of those unconscious thoughts that have been happening behind the scenes of your awareness. And if you're sitting there and all of a sudden you want to get up and quit, and you want to get up and move because your body's been in a program, and all of a sudden you become aware of that, or you notice how you speak and you decide not to quit, I want you to know that that's a victory, that you're executing a will that's greater than the program. And most people lose their free will to a set of memorized programs. If you're sitting there and your body is just looking for the rush of energy so you can get angry and agitated and frustrated, and instead of just thinking you don't have any control of that, you could settle your body back down into the present moment. You are telling your body in that moment that it's no longer the mind, that you are the mind, and that's a victory as well. And most people quit when they come up against the boundary of the known self. So now, stepping out of the known into the unknown is the perfect place to create from. So it makes sense then, if you truly wanted to change, and I've studied this when we studied spontaneous remissions. Well, the first question is, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? I mean, I think that's an important question. So when you put intention and attention behind it and you understand what you're doing, as you start to fire and wire those thoughts, if you keep doing it, you start installing neurological hardware. If you keep repeating it, repetition creates software, and all of a sudden, that will be the new thought in your head that says, I can, it's possible, anything's possible. That becomes the common thought in your head. There's no magic there. It becomes automatic because you installed it. And if you said, who am I going to be today? well, how am I going to live? And instead of getting up and just starting a routine, while you sat there with your eyes closed, you rehearsed mentally the choices you were going to make and the things you're going to do. The research shows that if you do that properly, the brain won't know the difference between a real life event and what you're imagining. And if you stay present with it, you install neurological hardware. If you keep it up every day, it becomes a software program and you start to behave like a happy person. Then here's the challenging part. Can you teach your body emotionally how it can feel in a new future? That means that you're going to have to feel the emotion of an event before it happens. So most people will wait for their healing to feel gratitude. They'll wait for the change in their health to feel wholeness. That's kind of the old model of reality of cause and effect. We're waiting in lack and separation for something out there to tell us that we'll be better in here. That's a very compromised way of living because we live in separation our entire life and we're disappointed. But if you understand that the body is so objective that it doesn't know the difference between an actual experience that was creating the emotion and the emotion that you're creating by thought alone, and it's the environment signals the gene, you're signaling the gene ahead of the environment, and genes make proteins. So then by elevating your emotional state, you were telling your body now to move back into growth and repair. And the word meditation literally means to become familiar with, and that's what you're doing. You're becoming so familiar, so conscious of your old self that you will not go unconscious again. And then you are moving into a new state by firing and wiring and elevating your emotions. If you keep practicing that, it'll begin to become familiar to you. So then most people, they try it out for 2 or 3 days, and then after 2 or 3 days, they give up, and they haven't mastered a formula that teaches them how to heal. They just want the lack and the pain and the separation to go away. But many people that we've studied that actually heal, I want you to know that when they truly make those changes, they'll tell you that was their greatest teacher. They will tell you it was their greatest lesson. They're so happy that they had the experience because they literally changed who they were from living in a familiar past and into a new future. And it takes practice. And the practice is what matters the most.
We are continuing with the Complete the Quote challenge. Your task here is to complete the inspiring quote or statement that we choose for you. Can you complete the challenge and give us the right answer? If you can, and if you can do it first, you will become a daily winner. All you need to do is to write the correct answer in comments below the video. In the previous video we were looking for 2 words of the Joe Dispenza quote. The quote goes like this: just as thoughts are the language of the brain, feelings are the language of, and the correct answer is the body. So, just as thoughts are the language of the brain, feelings are the language of the body. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer. I'm not surprised so many of you knew the right answer. After all, you are all Joe Dispenza's fans. But we'll see how we do today. Today we are looking for 2 words of Joe Dispenza's quote also. And the quote goes like this: we know that it takes a clear intention and an elevated emotion to begin to change a person's biology from living in the past to living in. Write your answers in the comments below the video. Even if you're not sure, you can try and guess and become a daily winner. Subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss my new videos and new challenges that need to be solved. Did you like this video? If you did, give your thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. Or you can click on the link in the description